Good morning, it's Jane. Voice is a little bit better today. When I did go to the doctor last week, I had quite a list of things going on. Not only did I have a severe head cold, but I had laryngitis, the flu, and an ear infection. So yay me. I am a little bit better, feeling much better. The cold is still hanging on, but at least the voice is a little bit better. I do have a couple of finished items. Right now I am concentrating on baby sweaters because we have those 9 couples that are due in December, and as far as I know there's another 2 in February and 1 in April, and the one in April is expecting twins. So I've got to get a move on some baby sweaters. Now most of these I do not have buttons on them yet. I can't find my button box, but I know it's there and I have plenty of buttons. First one is this one. I did not have enough to do all of this, but I had a little bit of the pink, so I decided to mix those up a little bit and put those in together. And then we have another regular baby sweater. Now this one does have buttons. I did have some buttons right there next to me, so it does have some buttons on it. This last one is that 5-hour baby sweater that you knit. That should be listed under false advertising. Took me about 8.5 hours to knit it, and I still have to find buttons for it, but it's finished. So yeah, those are all done and finished with the exception of putting on the buttons. I do have one that I am working on. It's a work in progress, and this one is a Yarnspiration shell that basically you knit the back and then you knit the one side of the front, then the other front, then you then you crochet on the sleeves on each end, and then you seam it up all at once. And then of course it's got 1 button or 2 buttons down the front, but it's a cute little shell pattern, and it's really easy. This one is actually designed for 6 months and up, but I'm using a G hook with Caron Simply Soft, so it's measuring out about what a newborn would be. So yeah, that is it for the works in progress for the knit and the crochet. I am starting another knit sweater for a baby, and then a little bit, but just not yet. The only other thing I've been doing is I've been sewing some things that I'm going to add into the shop the end of this week, and these are some mason jar cozies. And the cozies slip over your mason jars. These are quart jars. And I do have a couple of different, the cats and then some gnomes. And then I have a couple of sugar skulls and some other things, and I'm going to do a couple of the Christmas prints. Just haven't got them all finished up yet. We'll be working on those later on this week, so they should be up in the shop about Friday to go. I'm thinking maybe $8, give or take, around there, plus shipping. So that is something that if you are a person that likes to put together gifts, I'll give you an idea for a gift that I do use lots of times. When I make things for the kitchen, generally I will include either a cookie recipe in a mason jar, everything needed to make the cookies except for, the butter and milk in the jar. And then usually a dishcloth and a towel, kitchen towel included with that. Maybe a spatula, as a nice little gift. Some other things you can do is hot cocoa in these with mugs, those kind of things. These are great to use just for any time gifts. So yeah, that is what these cozies are meant to do, is just cover up over your jar, and then you can give it out as a gift. It dresses it up. They are, for the most part, I use Insulbrite in them. So if you want to use them for drinking your coffee or drinking your iced tea or iced coffee, you could use that and use it as a holder so that your hands don't get cold as well. So it'll help keep the drink insulated, keep it hot a little longer, keep your hands from getting burned. So yeah, that's kind of it for what I've been working on lately. Because I was doing a whole lot of sleeping. Just was not feeling well and just did a ton of sleeping. Okay, now, and I know everybody is doing Vlogmas. I've been trying to catch up, in between sleep and watching Vlogmas, which I've been finding interesting. Now, normally I do Vlogmas. I don't know that I'm going to do Vlogmas this year, so much so as maybe video here or there, some of the things I'm going to do. There are some crafts that I want to do, so maybe I'll take you along and you can watch me put those crafts together and fight the kitties as I'm putting those crafts together. All right, are you ready for a little what in tarnation? I know I am. Bathroom humor. 5 surprising stories from the toilet. The bathroom is supposed to be a safe space, but there have been several surprising discoveries made in and around the toilet recently. Here's a recap of 5 of them. Some of them have links, some of them do not. Of course, the woman in Michigan-Dixon Lake, when she went to the pot recently, she dropped her Apple Watch in the outhouse tank and it became trapped inside. So, Michigan State Police responded alongside Department of Natural Resources personnel and Otsego County EMS when a witness heard a woman calling for help from the outdoor toilet. The woman told police she crawled into the commode's smelly storage system to retrieve her dropped Apple Watch and found she was unable to climb out. However, she did retrieve that out of that putrid pit. They also suggest that you do not, if you lose an item in the outhouse toilet, do not attempt to venture inside the containment area because serious injury may occur. And there is a link to the Facebook page that has that. Lizard surprise. There was another toilet misadventure in Hollywood, Florida, this time of the lizard variety. Crystal Collins said her and her husband had to call a friend for backup when they discovered an iguana lurking inside the toilet in their guest bathroom. Collins said the large lizard in the toilet bowl initially appeared to be dead, but it proved to be very much alive when their friend reached in with a garbage bag. The green privy pest was released outside the home. Collins said her initial reaction was to joke about burning the house down, while her husband let out a series of sounds that she described as very manly. She explained, "Neither of us do lizards." Now, lizards, I wouldn't have a problem getting it out. This next one, I would. Snakes in a toilet. In another case of cold-blooded commode commandeering, a Tucson, Arizona woman went into her bathroom, lifted the toilet to discover a black and pink Coach Whip snake looking back at her. Michelle Lesbron contacted reptile removal service Rattlesnake Solutions, and a trapper named Nicholas ended up making 3 visits to her home in 2 days. The reptile wrangler was finally able to grab the slippery snake as it attempted to flee down the drain. Coach whips are not venomous, but are known to get aggressive when handled by humans. Rattlesnake Solutions said snakes have been found in local toilets before, but it is among one of the rarest situations they are called to handle. There is no link. Curious Canine. The Woodlands Fire Department in Texas was called to a home where a small dog went exploring in the bathroom and had ended up wedged behind the toilet. The department said firefighters ended up having to remove sheetrock from the wall to bring the laboratory retriever named Tippy back to its owners. Firefighters said there were no injuries from Tippy's toilet trial. This morning, the crew from E102 were confronted with an unusual problem. Small dog had managed to wedge himself behind a toilet. Firefighters found that Tippy was well and truly stuck. They tried several things, but in the end they had to remove a small amount of sheetrock to free the pinned pooch. Tippy was returned to his owner and was last seen dozing comfortably in a much less precarious place. And there are pictures. There are a link to some pictures. I do. A public works crew in Chino Hills, California, found an engagement ring that had been flushed down the toilet by the owner's young son 14 months earlier. Janet Glass said her 5-year-old son flushed the ring in March 2022, and despite the best efforts of her now husband John, a pair of plumbers and public work employees, the ring was not recovered. 14 months later, a Chino Hills public works crew was performing sewer maintenance in the neighborhood when workers spotted something shiny among the sewage, a literal diamond in the rough. Crew members recalled hearing the tale of the couple's lost ring and returned it to the family after a thorough cleaning. John Glass said the family can laugh about it now, and he looks forward to telling the story of the flushed ring someday at his stepson's wedding. That's it for the toilet stories. Bird makes mustache out of buck hair. This oxpecker took advantage of a good friendship when it started stealing hair from a buck that could do nothing about it. The unique sighting was captured on camera by 29-year-old Cameron Smith, assistant head ranger at Boomba Private Game Reserve in South Africa. Cameron shared the footage and story with latestsightings.com. Cameron Smith said a decade of experiencing guiding shares with us the story. It was just a regular game drive. We were actually observing a cheetah from a distance, resting atop a cliff. As I turned to talk with my guest, I noticed something unusual. An oxpecker was on an impala, and its mouth was full of hair. The oxpecker seemed to be collecting nesting material from the impala. Usually oxpeckers and the impalas have a symbiotic relationship where both benefit. However, in this case, it appeared slightly parasitic since the impala was losing air without apparent gain, unless, of course, it's shedding for the summer, which could mean the bird is actually helping it. I've been guiding for nearly 10 years, and it's moments like these that are truly enlightening. It's not always about the big five sometimes. It's shedding for the summer. It's these small, unprecedented interactions in nature that leave you amazed. What's the matter, Ronan? The cat's cooing. Can you hear that? With 6 guests accompanying me, we all witnessed the fascinating behavior. Further research reveals that birds, like oxpeckers, often use various materials for their nest, including hair from different animals. This observation is a testament to the ever-surprising nature of wildlife and a reminder of how there's always something new to learn in the bush. Such experiences, though minor in the grand scheme, are what makes each safari unique and memorable. It's a reminder that the wilderness always has new lessons to offer, even for seasoned professionals like myself. The oxpecker, having gathered enough hair from the impala, eventually took flight, disappearing from our sight. It's likely that the bird was headed to build its nest, as this is the breeding season for oxpeckers. This departure marked the end of a brief but enlightening encounter. Crash covers Ohio highway in chocolate and caramel. A stretch of highway in Ohio was closed Thursday morning when a crash involving two semi-trucks covered the roadway in boxes of chocolate and caramel. The Ohio Department of Transportation said the two trucks collided about 6 a.m. Thursday on westbound Interstate 90 in Lake County. One of the trucks spilled its load of chocolate and caramel candy onto the roadway, prompting officials to direct traffic off the highway. No injuries were reported, and Concord fire crews were summoned to the scene for cleanup operations. There is a link to video. However, the video is an hour and a half long. It shows the entire scene, and it's nighttime. Well, maybe you'll want to watch it. Who knows? Lobster caught in Maine has 2 colors and 2 sexes. That's unusual. A lobster caught in Maine is drawing attention online for its couple of unusual attributes. It's half red and half blue, as well as half male and female. Jacob Knowles said the lobster was brought to him by a friend and fellow lobsterman, and he dubbed the crustacean Bowie in honor of musician David Bowie's famously androgynous style and mismatched eye colors. I was very blown away by it, Knowles told NPR. He said the lobster is an extremely rare find. Nobody I've talked to in the harbor has ever seen one like this either, he said, so that speaks pretty loudly. New England aquarium biologist Jordan Baker said only about 1 in 50 million lobsters share Bowie's bicolored appearance. These are embryo mutations and changes in that autogenetic development, Baker said. The combination of embryos or division that basically make 2 different animals. Knowles said Bowie is currently being kept in a cage in the ocean. Baker said she is hoping the lobster man will consider donating Bowie to the aquarium, which is already home to multiple lobsters of unusual colors. A lot of lobstermen in our area and the rest of New England have been really generous when they find these rarities and offer them to us, she said. However, there is video where they are talking with Jacob, and he talks about wanting to see if it will develop eggs, since it has male and female parts. This should be interesting. Researchers find witch bottles washed up on Texas beaches. Texas researchers said witch bottles of unknown origin have been washing up on beaches along the state's coastal bend. Jace Tunnel, Director of Community Engagement at Hart Research Institute for the Gulf of Mexico Studies, has found hundreds of unique and unusual items while combing the Texas beaches, and this month brought the latest discovery of a witch bottle. Witch bottles date back to the 16th and 17th centuries, when people who believed themselves to be targeted by curses or spells would fill a bottle with objects including iron nails, fingernail clippings, human hair, in an attempt to rid themselves of the dark magic. We found about 8 of them over the past 6 or so years, and they have sticks and leaves in them, different types of vegetation, he told KRSI-TV. Some of them have gooseneck barnacles growing on them, so we know they've been out in the Gulf for a while. Apparently, they're supposed to have spells in them. Tunnel said he has no interest in opening the bottles, and his wife won't even allow them inside the house. I don't blame you. The theory is that if you open it, you could let the spell out, whatever the reason the person had put in the spell there, he said. He said the bottles have come from anywhere in the world, which is true. They could have. The witch bottles don't have any date on them. They don't have any kind of writing, so we don't exactly know where they came from, he said. The witch bottles make up only a small fraction of weird and sometimes creepy objects. tunnel and esteem if found on Texas beaches. Their other discoveries include internet famous barnacle encrusted dolls, fiberglass mermaid statue, a prosthetic leg, and an intact safe. Now that's quite a find, don't you think? All right. Now we are ready for our promises from God devotion. This one again is about anger. Stop being mean, bad-tempered, and angry. Quarreling, harsh words, and dislike of others should have no place in our lives. Instead, be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, just as God has forgiven you, because you belong to Christ. That comes from Ephesians 4:31 through 32. A gentle answer turns away anger, but harsh words stir up wrath. Proverbs 15:9. Refrain from anger and turn from wrath. Do not fret. It leads only to evil. That is Psalm 37, verse 8. All right, that is it for today's video. As always, be kind to one another, love one another, and I will see you again soon. And hopefully this cold will be gone by then. All right, everybody have a great day. Bye.